As human populations increase, greater pressure is placed on marine fishery resources through habitat destruction as well as demand for food and recreation. 2/3 of harvested marine species for which data exists are either at or below the levels required for sustainability. The Gulf Coast Research Lab, GCRL, has a program for combating these issues with the culture of spotted sea trout for a pilot stocking program. The goal of this project is to develop methods to acquire, maintain, and spawn broodstock of spotted sea trout in order to facilitate production, rearing, tagging, releasing, and assessing of juveniles in a stocking program. This project is a partnership between GCRL and the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and is testing the effectiveness of using hatchery-raised fish to enhance Mississippi's sea trout population. As most of you know, the spotted sea trout is known locally as a speckled trout, and it's one of Mississippi's premier sport fisheries.
Lucas. I'm the director of the Thad Cochran Marine Aquaculture Center at the University of Southern Mississippi. Today we are located in Bay St. Louis over off the Jordan River at a place called Cedar Point where we are doing a fish release. We have 2 locations in the bay today, here at Cedar Point and another one up in Nicase. We're releasing 134,000 spotted sea trout. Really an all hands on deck effort as we look to help give Mother Nature a little kick after the rough summer we had with the opening of the Bonnet-Carré Spillway. So staff this morning of the Aquaculture Center and DMR and the Ocean Springs High School, we're on hand to help us count and weigh fish, get all the measurements we need before we can do the release today. As well as we also thank the anglers that participate in these live catch tournaments that supply us with brood that we can then use to spawn and help repopulate some of the populations here in Back Bay.
So, we finally have the Bonnet-Carré Spillway closed, and a lot of bad happened on that. We pretty much have hit on that before. But it is closed now, so it's starting to get better. We had a bunch of rain not long after it closed. That helped clean things out. Our salinity today, they just tested, was 4.9, so that's pretty good. Not where it should be yet, but it's much better. So what we're doing today is we're going to release fingerling, and this is the Gulf Coast Research Lab and the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources doing that. CCA Mississippi has several live catch tournaments throughout the year. These are going into the Bay St. Louis estuary, so these were all caught at our Ernie Zimmerman and Friends live catch tournament we do every December. They put them in the tank that you see back there when we catch them. They ship them off to the lab where they do their thing and grow them and make more and all that stuff, and then they come back down here a couple of times a year, or maybe just once a year, depending on how things are going, and release them. So we've got an east and a west section of this going on. So these are the ones coming back into the bay.
We really saw a displacement of most of the fisheries at the peak of that freshwater influx. And so what we're trying to do now that the spillway has been closed is start over on the west end where we know the water was most affected, closer to the spillway opening. And so now that we've got some salinity up, we decided to release some fish over here because we know after the displacement of the broodstock and really very little spawning probably throughout the summer that we wanted to try to get some fish in right before the end of the fall season.
We know that we're having to work harder to get fish. The fish just kind of disappeared for a while, and hopefully fish are able to do that, so they're coming back now. We're catching a lot of small fish, the guys that are fishing, but we are catching some nice sized fish too, mostly out around the islands and stuff. So up in this area, we're just hoping to get our old 15-inch trout back and get that estuary established again, and that's what this is aiming to do.
For more information about this program and other such programs aimed at helping conserve and protect coast habitats and fisheries, check out the Gulf Coast Research Lab's website or go to Mississippi's DMR. We'll be right back.